Hi, everybody. Well, I did something my last trip into Orlando that I've never done before. Went on a behind-the-scenes African trek in Florida. So this is called the African Trek. It is a behind-the-scenes 4-hour excursion where you are brought behind the scenes in Animal Kingdom and you get to go to different areas around that most people don't get to see unless you go on this trek. Plus you get a private safari, one of those Jeeps that drive around, and you get an even more inclusive experience there, plus lunch. And so I got ready to start. Now it all starts off, if you're going, you have to have tickets to get into the park to do this experience. So tickets to get in plus the park. You can't just buy the tickets for this event and go in. So we went in and we were introduced to our hosts. Two very nice young people. They explained how everything's working. They hooked us up with our vests. We weren't allowed to carry anything loose. Everything had to be attached so it wouldn't fall down with the animals, including our phones. We had a quick safety briefing. We had our headsets put on so we could always hear our tour guides as we were going along, and then off we went. And we even saw little things along the way to get into the entrance, like this beautiful little fish pond area. Absolutely gorgeous fish. And then our first stop was to see these guys, the hippos. We were going to see these a little more up close and personal than you would see from your normal African tour around in the park. We got to get right up close. You can see them just barely in the water there, but then it was feeding time and away they came. We had one come over right away, and don't worry, a lot of people were very concerned about the ducks because they were concerned that these great big hippos were going to swallow the ducks when they were going for the lettuce. They'd actually reach almost into the mouths of the hippos. We ended up being joined by his brother as they came along, and you can see just how large these guys are. They're actually some of the most temperamental animals in Africa, and actually very, very dangerous. They account for more injuries and deaths in Africa almost than the crocodiles that are there. So yeah, but these guys looked pretty calm to us, just laid back in the water and enjoying the day. Off we went to visit next the crocodiles. And this one was a little bit more of a unique experience because these guys are just sitting there, right? But we got to get pretty darn close to them. We had to hook up our belts over top to a safety harness because we were able to look right over at these guys. And then we came across the bridge. The bridge of death, we like to call it, jokingly. As you can see, there are actually gaps in there to make it more authentic, and the crocodiles are directly beneath you. And some people were very, very nervous going across this, to say the least, because not only were you a good distance in the air and you were on this wooden thing that looked like it was going to fall apart at any moment, even though there was a netting there, it didn't help. And so people were very nervous going across. Was I nervous? I don't think so. I think I was pretty calm going through and got some really nice pictures taken while I was in there. Had a great time. Then we were off on our own little Jeep, up close and personal with the animals. We got some great shots out there, especially up close with the giraffes. Look how close we were able to get compared to some of the other vehicles that are out there. We get so close that the animals actually got more curious with us, it seems, at some point than we were with them. But yeah, some beautiful shots of the flamingos. Just a gorgeous day that we had. Look at this giraffe staring in our window saying, what are you looking at? We were looking at you, buddy. That's what we were looking at. We were looking at you. Of course, we saw all kinds of other animals out there. We were able to get so close that we can get some really beautiful shots. The wildebeest actually was an area where we stop for our lunch. Here we have some white rhinos, and then lunch. And this was kind of unique. We were handed these little sandwiches and cheese and bruschetto, as well as that flour inside is edible as well. And it's just not on top. We open that up underneath and we have even more. We have dessert, we had shrimp, we have a sandwich. It was actually really, really good. Really enjoyed that. And then we got to look out and see the wildebeest that were just hanging out around our area where we were eating in this private little cabana that we were all in, our group. Yeah, very calm, very peaceful, really enjoyed the atmosphere, and yeah, had a really, really good time doing this. Now, if you're asking me, would I do this again? I absolutely would. This was a really good experience. We got to learn a lot about the animals when we were in with the hippos. We had the expert there. With our tour guides, they met us there as well. When we were with the crocodiles, we had an expert from the crocodiles there, and they explained all the different. We were able to ask any questions we wanted. The tour guides would walk around and answer anything we could. In our headsets, we could hear everything that was being said, crystal clear, and they took their time. They took photos with people, with the backdrop of the animals below, and it was really a lot of fun. It was not a cheap experience, but it was one of those things that I would, if you're going to spend the money and you're going to Disney, or even if you're thinking of doing something because you're in Orlando getting ready for a cruise, either pre-cruise or post-cruise, this might be something you might want to think about doing with your family. The kids that were with us in this experience absolutely had a thrilling time. The adults did too. I mean, some of the people in there were giddy with enthusiasm, shall we say. And I thoroughly enjoyed seeing the animals up close and the personal feel that they had. It didn't feel like we were being rushed through and part of a big tour. It was a small group. There were only about 12 of us, I believe, in the entire group, and they took their time and had basically one of the best experiences I've ever had at Disney. It's called Jungle Trek. If you ever get a chance to opportunity to do it, stop by and also say hi to these guys, and hopefully your tour operators are just as nice as these guys were, and I hope you have just as good a time as I did.